Today's lead story, Google faces potential major... Helps if I hit the record button, ladies and gentlemen. In a lead story tonight, Google faces potential major changes as the U.S. Department of Justice prepares remedies to counteract the company's monopoly on search market. Proposed actions could include breaking up Google, limiting default search agreements, or requiring Google to share valuable data with competitors. Judge Amit Mehta will oversee the case next phase, with decisions possibly leading to significant shifts in the tech landscapes. That and many, many more stories tonight. Episode 1771 is coming to you this Monday, October 7th. I'm your host, Todd Cochran, ready to deliver your tech news and information fix. A quick shout out to our incredible sponsor at GoDaddy. Score exclusive deals and discounts at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. And to all our fantastic listeners, you are the heartbeat of the show. If you want to support the GNC mission, head to geeknewscentral.com/insider and become a GNC insider. We are live and lit thanks to modern podcast apps. Don't just listen. Experience the show live by grabbing .com/GoDaddy. Ready to score big? How about a brand new domain name for just $11.99? Or level up with Economy Hosting for only $6.99 a month. And that includes a free domain, professional email, and an SSL certificate, all for the first year. You want even more power? No problem. Grab Managed WordPress Hosting for just $12.99 a month with all those same perks, free domain, email, and SSL certificate included. And if you're on the fence, don't sweat it. Don't sweat it all. Grab GoDaddy Website Builder for free for a month. Test drive whether you're building something personal, launching the next big thing in business. GoDaddy's got your back. Now, here's the best part. When you hit up geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy, you're not just grabbing a deal. You're supporting real creators and helping keeping a small business alive. No weird tracking, no hidden codes, just real savings for real people. And again, a shout out to GoDaddy for always keeping Geek News Central running strong. Ready to lock in your savings? Head to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy and let's get building. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. Hope you're doing well. Last show was a week ago today. The following, in matter of fact, had an early show on Monday, had the podcast awards ceremony immediately following that. Then I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning, or actually 1:30, got a shower, was in the car on the way to Detroit by 2, into Detroit by a little after 4, checked in and on an airplane headed to West Palm Beach. PBI is actually the airport I flew into. I think that's the same airport that prior President Trump parked his airplane at. I don't think he was in town at all. I know as I got off the airplane and there was a ride waiting for me. But we had the Blueberry team meeting Wednesday, Thursday, and then half a day on Friday. And we spent really 20 hours really heads down. It was very intense. Had a absolute full schedule. And came out of there with literally pages of notes. And I'm going to try to get it all summarized tomorrow. Lots of considerations, and really it was a great meeting, great food, great hanging out with the team. We were so focused. I didn't even hear about what's going on in North Carolina until really Friday, and it just kind of hit me. Wow, this real serious tragedy there. With so many lost lives and so many lost property, and it's bad, really, really bad. And my heart goes out to all those in any of the Ohana that's in that area suffering. And then now we've got a big hurricane that is ramping up, a super hurricane, Cat 5, 175 mile an hour sustained winds. It's headed towards Florida. I talked to my daughter prior to the show. She's in Tampa, Seminole Heights, and her and her husband have the house all boarded up. And she went to stay with her mother in Brandon. So they're just worried about the wind. Obviously, Seminole Heights is 41 feet above sea level. Brandon is higher. So they're not worried about flooding. It's just the wind, and they have lots of beautiful trees in their neighborhood. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It could turn out to be really, really bad for everyone involved, of course. But anyway, I got home Friday. It was just absolute, and actually, I got home on Saturday. Absolute zombie on Sunday. Really didn't do hardly anything. Today was a regular back to work. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just going to be absolutely slammed. Thursday, I take the train to Chicago. Now, Wednesday, we're going to have a special edition of the show, 20-year anniversary for the show on this coming Wednesday, the 9th. So I'll be live the Wednesday, the 9th, starting at around 6 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to join me for the live stream, come on. We're going to take a little bit of a walk down memory lane. So 20 years in podcasting this coming Wednesday. So I have a regular. It'll be kind of a modified show, but anyway, we'll have that. And then on Thursday, no show on Thursday because I'm doing a show on Wednesday. Thursday, I go to Chicago. Friday morning, I fly out to Honolulu. So I'm in Honolulu Friday afternoon, Saturday, Sunday to Monday afternoon, and Monday afternoon I leave for Manila. So that's kind of the schedule. Plan on doing a show on, well, there will be no show on Monday because of the travel time. I leave at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Monday, maybe I'll be able to squeeze something in. I don't know. We'll see. But then a regular show on Thursday as scheduled, because I'll be able to get things set up and be ready to turn and burn. But yeah, going remote for several months. So this studio will go cold iron Wednesday evening, and we'll put everything locked down and head out. So that's kind of what's going on here. But I got a great lineup on the show tonight. Hope you're all doing well. Again, if you have feedback on today's podcast, please hit me up, geeknews@gmail.com. I need to turn the volume down here on something. Hang on. I just noticed the audio stream is just banging. Don't know why. Wow, it's just getting hammered. I guess I'm talking too loud. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the stack of stuff I've got here today. Again, those of you that are supporting the sponsor, thank you so much. But the situation with Google is going to get really, really interesting. And, they're about to find out how the DOJ wants to remake the Google empire. Prosecutors are expected to submit a document as early as tomorrow, and federal court outlining potential remedies after successfully arguing that Google acted as an illegal monopoly. And it's going to be up to District of Columbia Judge George Amita, who sided with DOJ's monopoly argument, to decide what should happen now in separate remedies phase of the trial that will likely start in 2025. Now, we know potential remedies range from an outright breakup of Google to making its search engine data available to competitors, to ending agreements that cure its search engines default on mobile devices and internet browsers. And it's going to be complicated. I really believe that. And of course, Google's promised to appeal, and the judge could hold off on any orders to alter Google's behavior while it challenges his ruling in the District of Columbia Circuit Court of Appeals. And the judge would lose the right to impose remedies if Google is not found to have broken the law on appeal. Certainly, a breakup of Google's empire, the most rare of antitrust remedies, has the most potential to reorder the tech universe. And that can include divestitures of its Android operating system, Chrome browser, AdWords, all of which steer users into Google. And many of you probably don't even know that there was a big breakup of AT&T many, many years ago. And that's really what fueled what was called the Dial One War, where companies like MCI, Sprint, really were able to get a foothold into business in America. Now, MCI, I don't know whatever become of them, but Sprint and MCI were fighting for your ability to choose your data carrier. And data carrier being then was dial-up, who was going to be your dial one provider, and it really changed the way telecommunication worked in the days of when everyone was still on a landline. This was long before the popularization of cell phones. It happened in around the time when we started having cell phones be in a bag. So a divestment of Android could happen, could have significant consequences. So they expect the judge to fashion a remedy similar to the one imposed on Xerox, in 1975, to end its dominance of the office copier market. The company was no longer to configure its copiers so that ink cartridge suppliers and other third-party components could not run on its machines. That was when they broke up Xerox. And he could foresee the judge potentially making them give up Android or Chrome. Exclusive contracts could be broken down. There's just a whole bunch of things that could happen here. And I think this is just the start of what could potentially become a run on these companies and trying to stop their dominance and their monopolies in the space. And when will they come after Apple? That will be the question next. Little Red Bull here. The Amazon return to office etiquette basically is part of an attempt for the company to reestablish its company culture. And it's interesting how they're playing this. Amazon's controversial decision to bring corporate employees back to the office, has not made the employees very happy. And they have to be at their desks 5 days a week beginning in January. And Amazon currently lets many of them work from home 2 days a week, but the return to office has not made 350,000 plus corporate workers happy campers. And talking about employee perks and the value of in-person work, which is sometimes very important. And but again, he might be trying to thin the ranks. But they say that the senior leadership made the change at least part because they believe the next generation of workers was being left behind rather than taught the Amazon way, according to 3 people familiar with the deliberations. Jassy mentioned the word culture a dozen times in his memo. Keeping your culture strong is not a birthright, he wrote. You have to work at it all the time. So, Amazon is a collection of teams operating like startups, and employees pitching in new ideas are expected to write detailed memos and avoid slide decks. And there's a strong preference for sharp analysis of data and trends and plenty of tolerance for frank and heated debate. This is kind of the way my company operates. We had some great conversations when we were all together. And people, had some concerns on some stuff, and we've addressed those, and we're going to change a few things. When you're going hot and heavy and strong 24/7, 365, the way we've been going recently is internally as my company has. We've been on this rocket ship of releasing features and services, and, we closed the gap of being behind to now being ahead in many instances. And when you don't want to slow down, but at the same time, you want to be a little more thoughtful as you're rolling stuff out and not just to get it out, to get it out, to get it out. So we'll see what happens with Amazon in this change as they go back to work the first of the year. My company remains remote, and it has its own challenges. So time will tell. There is a potential leak that has happened. The M4 MacBook Pro might have been leaked on YouTube. And Apple, has had a pretty good lockdown on any type of leaks of any types of devices for a very, very long time. for them to have a leak like this would be like a wow moment, to be quite frank. So apparently, a Russian YouTuber by the name of Wylsacom, Wylsacom, published a video claiming to depict a genuine M4 MacBook Pro before the device has even been announced. The YouTuber C to unbox the device and share their initial thoughts on the product. But is this really a true M4 MacBook? Well, there was a few signs that it could be. He showed the back of the laptop box, obscuring the serial number, which revealed it contained a 14-inch MacBook Pro with an M4 chip, 16 gigs of memory, 512K of storage, had a 10-core CPU, and a 10-core GPU. So, but there was a few things that were maybe not right. The benchmark score kind of appeared maybe to be the deal. The MacBook apparently is using the same design on the front of its box. That's very suspicious because Apple almost unfailingly updates its wallpaper. Its MacBooks use every time a fresh one is released. So we will see. Also, they note that the MacBook comes with 3 Thunderbolt 4 ports. That's odd because the M3 generation of all MacBooks with the M3 chip came with 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports. So I don't know. But we'll see here what happens. But if this is actually, and this guy's in Russia. So how did he get his hand on one of these in Russia with everything that's going on? It is quite the tell, to be honest with you. Starlink and T-Mobile are providing satellite to cell service to aid Hurricane Helene relief. So they've been given emergency approval, just like the emergency approval have been flying in Starlink terminals to keep people online. So, Elon to the rescue here. So, is a villain otherwise to a lot of people. But this is big. The FCC has given SpaceX and T-Mobile temporary emergency capabilities to provide their direct-to-cell satellite service in the wake of Hurricane Helene. In a post on Sunday, SpaceX said it was already broadcasting emergency alerts to cell phones on all networks in North Carolina, where the FCC said in its latest report that about 16.9% of cell sites were still out of commission. SpaceX also said the post that would begin testing basic SMS texting capabilities on the T-Mobile network in North Carolina. SpaceX direct-to-call constellation has not been fully deployed, so all services will be delivered on a best effort basis. And so anyway, the FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr praised the effort in a post on X, calling it remarkable and pointing out that the service wasn't scheduled to go live until additional satellites were launched, but Starbucks is giving this a shot nonetheless to help address the serious needs for connectivity in these disaster areas. Many companies probably would have held off and waited. He says, I thank them for choosing to do everything they can to improve communications. Every little bit helps right now. Starlink has also been offering home internet service free for 30 days for those in the affected areas. The FCC's emergency response to Helene has also included a disaster information reporting system and mandatory disaster response system from North Carolina to include South Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia. I don't know where you guys sit on all this, but I've seen some stuff on. I'm seeing lots of claims that there's lots of politics involved here, but I'm seeing a lot of stuff on TikTok from real people, from real survivors on the ground, making their opinions known, and it's not a pretty situation. If you're watching survivors, not talking heads. There's plenty of those raising Cain and probably saying stuff that aren't completely right. But, I think my opinion is when something like this happens and what's about to happen, it's the U.S. government's responsibility to get their butt in gear and get in there and at all costs and make things happen. To me, it felt a little bit slow on the uptake. I might be wrong, and we'll hear in as time goes on what the real deal was. But I think, anyone that lives here, if you've suffered a national disaster before, You want someone in there to get the process started quickly. Now, we know that the government is here to help. Ha ha ha. It's a funny saying that I said for many, many years. But in reality, we can't rely on anyone. We have to rely on ourselves. So if you're in Florida in the path of this monster that's coming, please, please, please be prepared for its onslaught. And I'm sure many of you are taking it very, very serious. Serious, excuse me. Rival browsers cry foul after Microsoft Edge slips through EU gatekeepers' cracks. This is interesting. The European Commission decision not to designate Microsoft Edge as a core platform service has rival browser makers and engineers up in arms. That decision, which is pretty crazy if you think about it, meant that Edge will not be subjected to the toughest DMA regulations. Core platform services must limit the amount of self-preferencing they do and provide concessions to give their competitors a chance. Microsoft, alongside other companies, including Apple and Google, who have been designated as a gatekeeper under the regulations, but Edge was omitted from the list of products that are requiring changes to be compliant. So, what's this? Did someone get paid off, or how did they get away from not having to play ball here? Hey, if you were looking up at the sky here recently, I guess there was a fireball that is it, where was it? Miami? Says, but they're talking about Miami Valley. Where's Miami Valley? Springfield, Ohio? Anyway, a link will be up in the show notes. This article doesn't even tell what city or state, doesn't tell if it's Miami, Florida, or if another Miami area. Excuse me, I apologize here. What's going on here? YouTube is not happy with the stream tonight. I don't understand why. Everything looks good on the downstream on my side, so who knows here why it's complaining. Neighbors are suing over a loud Bitcoin mine. It's the hum from a 300 megawatt facility, allegedly causing stress and lack of sleep. Now, a Bitcoin mine, this thing is buried in Granbury, Texas. Residents can hear the sound of money being made at all hours of the day and night. But it's not making them rich. Instead, the neighbors in the town southwest of Fort Worth say the persistent low hum emanating from the Bitcoin mine operated by Marathon Digital has caused them stress. They filed a lawsuit in Texas State Court Friday in Hood County, alleging that the noise from the Bitcoin mine creates a nuisance that has ruined their quality of life. Now, what it is, it's the cooling fans. The 300 megawatt Marathon Digital facility is located alongside a gas-fired power plant called Wolf Hollow 2. Residents recently spoke out against a proposed expansion to upgrade the natural gas facility currently providing electricity for the Bitcoin mining and releasing up to 760,000 tons of additional carbon dioxide per day. I thought gas-fired powered plant. Natural gas? Okay. So Texas apparently has become the epicenter of a rise in Bitcoin mining, with companies flocking the state for slow taxes, vast land, minimal regulations, and multiple ways to profit from connecting directly to the electrical grid. So I guess what it is, it's the fans that are driving people crazy. At the Granbury facility, a mix of liquid immersion and fans prevent more than 20,000 computers from overheating, but those fans are loud enough that neighbors say the noise has disrupted their lives, and according to Earth Justice, more than 24 individuals have suffered direct health impacts due to constant noise pollution, including vertigo, hearing loss, migraines, fatigue, anxiety, and tinnitus. So I just wonder, I'd love to hear how loud this thing really is. Or, how far away, all that stuff. There's as the further you get away from something, the quieter it gets. You must have to be very, very close. So I'm curious on the offsets and all that. And was the mine there before? Did people move up into it? There's lots of people complain about airports sometimes, but they build around airports. And the airports were remote at one point. Then they come in and build. And they say, airplane noise is too noisy. Well, you moved into the neighborhood. You knew what you're getting into. Is that the case? I'm not saying it is, but it's a question to be asked for sure. All right, MoneyGram says no evidence ransomware is behind a cyber attack. 2 weeks after suffering a cyber attack and shutting down part of its infrastructure, MoneyGram has revealed more details, confirming that contrary to what many speculated, it was not a ransomware attack. A letter sent to stakeholders, seen by Blooping Computer, explains MoneyGram called in CrowdStrike, law enforcement, and other cybersecurity professionals to investigate the matter, and the conclusion was this was no ransomware attack, but they did have a cybersecurity incident. So after working with leading external cybersecurity, including CrowdStrike, the corporate U.S. law enforcement, the majority of our systems are not operational and resumed money transfer services. We recognize the importance of system security. As we take these actions, we start our systems only after taking extensive precautionary measures. So no evidence of ransomware. So what actually happened? What did they get? Did they steal something? That is yet TBD. Data breach leak of Social Security numbers of over 233,000 Comcast customers. Well, here we go. A data breach exposed the names, addresses, Social Security numbers, and birth dates of more than 237,000 Comcast customers. The breach stems from a security incident at Financial Business and Consumer Solutions, a debt collection agency. Well, I guess that's probably not the type of data you want to steal if someone's in debt collection. I'm sorry. It's bad no matter what. Comcast previously used, according to a filing with the state of Maine. FBCS previously suffered a data breach back in February, and they informed Comcast in July this customer data had been affected. Well, that took a long time, saying an unauthorized party downloaded data from FBCS systems and encrypted some systems as part of a ransomware attack. So you'll probably be getting a notice from Comcast that your data has been compromised. Geico is insisting that it is coverage for the Cybertruck after owners complain of drop policies. Now, what's interesting here is just today I had to go into my insurance agency. I have to have two policies here. I have to have a renter's insurance for just my normal personal goods, and I have to have a commercial insurance policy. It's very complicated, and I had to go in and talk through everything that was in my home insurance policy that is going to cover my personal stuff compared to my business stuff. So it's, I've got two policies essentially for the same area, which, you could probably understand that's a bit of a problem. But one of the questions I was asked is, do I have an electric vehicle parked in the garage? And we don't. So I said, what's the meaning of that? He said, well, if you have an electric vehicle parked in your garage, you pay a higher premium on things like fire insurance and that kind of stuff. So I thought that was curious, and I didn't go into too much details to ask how much more it was, but make sure if you have insurance for your home or where you're renting and you're parking an electric vehicle, make sure your insurance company knows this, because you could, if there is, God forbid, a fire with your electric vehicle, you may not be covered by your home or rental insurance. You may not, you might get zero. So make sure you call your insurance company if you're parking an electric vehicle and charging that vehicle, more importantly, inside your home, inside your garage. But Geico says it still offers insurance for Tesla Cybertrucks after some customers reported being dropped. Some owners have reported difficulties in procuring coverage for their Cybertrucks, fueling speculation the insurance industry was refusing the right policy for the truck. Now, this reached a fever pitch this weekend when they reported about a specific Cybertruck owner being informed by Geico that his policy was being terminated. Several owners have posted on Reddit and Cybertruck Owners Forum reporting dropped coverage from Geico and State Farm. In an email to The Verge, Geico pushed back. Geico has coverage available nationwide for the Tesla Cybertruck. Geico's spokesperson said he did not immediately respond to follow-up questions about the individual drop policies. State Farm also said it continues to offer coverages for Cybertruck owners. Cybertruck does insure Tesla Cybertruck. The spokesperson said when reached out during initial round of questions about the Cybertruck, it's important to remember that every customer situation is unique and the type of vehicle person owns only one factor in determining eligibility coverage. That's true. Your driving history, number of wrecks, all that stuff is included. How many claims you've had. That person said he had 8 vehicles on their policy, and it's possible other factors could have affected his eligibility. Another Cybertruck owner noted their own Geico policy says it won't cover vehicles worth more than $100,000. Tesla's only selling these models that are $99,990 and up. So now some of them are being switched from personal insurance to commercial insurance due to the Cybertruck's gross weight and potential trouble obtaining parts for repair shops. So that could be understood as well. If the weight is heavy too, we've got a vehicle here that we have to put a special sticker on the license plates because of the loads it carries, and we pay much higher premium for that insurance just because of the weight and everything else that goes along, commercial use that goes along with it. I want to thank our insiders, Andrew Palmer for his $5 sustaining donation and Roger Nash for his $2 ongoing donation. We thank both of you for your insider donations. We have not had any new boosts come in from new podcast apps from people are using at podcastapps.com. Although we've had a lot of people streaming. We've had Darren Schwartz streaming at 100 sats a minute. Thank you, Darren, for that. That was awesome. 100 sats a minute. B. Mossy as well, 33 sats a minute. Another individual, no name, 254 sats a minute streaming to the show. So we definitely appreciate that. But don't forget to get yourself one of those new modern podcast apps or podcastapps.com. And at the same time, we want you to consider becoming an insider at geeknewscentral.com/insider. You can make a one-time PayPal donation or $2, $5, $10, $15, $20, or $25 a month monthly donation by supporting the show in the value for value model. And of course, the value for value model is contribute your time, your talent, and or your treasure. And we appreciate it for those of you that donate your treasure for every episode, and those that contribute time and talent with feedback and stuff to the show as well. So again, geeknewscentral.com/insider to become a GNC insider and be part of the Ohana here. Chromecast with Google TV get security update, but no Android 14 yet. So some folks have been checking for updates on their Chromecast with Google TV every day or two in search of Android 14. There's, however, an update we're snagging sooner than later. Chromecast with Google TV is making a leap from the July 1, 2024 security update to the September 1, 2024 update. In that sense, it's now actually a month ahead of the Google TV streamer, which launched with the aforementioned Google Home features that let you check on cameras, adjust the temperature, toggle lights, and so forth. So keep an eye out on Android 14. But again, Chromecast with Google TV has gotten an update. NVIDIA is going to hold the first CES 2025 keynote as the RTX 5090 rumors swirl. I will not be at CES, as I mentioned some shows ago, but NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang will deliver a keynote on in January, January 6th at 6:30 p.m., 9:30 Eastern, just a day before CES opens its doors in Las Vegas. A source familiar with NVIDIA's plans told The Verge that we might hear more about the RTX 50 series at CES in early 2025. NVIDIA is an official guest keynote of the CTA for this upcoming CES show after the company previously delivered its own special address stream at CES 2024 earlier this year. So they're going to be talking AI, of course, heavily at that. No surprise there. Recall or free repair. Apple's M1 iMac users complain of screen fault, but claim Apple is refusing to take responsibility. An increasing number of Apple users have shared a concerning problem with their M1 iMac. Owners of the all-in-one device complain of a phantom horizontal lines appearing on the screens. First reports of this date back as far as mid-2023, and Apple is yet to acknowledge the issue. It kind of looks, if you those of you watching the show, kind of looks like just some horizontal lines. And a lengthy 17-page discussion thread on Apple's community forums is filled with user reports of this iMac display failure, and many users reportedly contacting Apple and really not getting any response here. Apple has yet to release an official statement, which leads to believe that even if the screens were to be replaced, the issue would still reoccur. And Apple has not responded to any comments on this particular issue for sure. So I'm done buying iMacs. The next computer, if I have to replace my iMac Pro that I have on my desk over there, it's going to be with a Mac Mini. No need to go with an iMac anymore at this point. And I could pick the monitor I want as well. Fandango is launching a new ticket membership program called Fandango Fan Club. So you think, oh my God, what's this one going to be? Is this going to be another thing where we get a membership and then we get so many free movies a month? Well, not exactly. But you will get a $10 movie ticket promo code per month. Additionally, convenience fees on all purchase tickets will be wiped. Expect early access to special bundles and offers to go live in the coming months. It's $9.99 a month. So if you're a Fandango fan, you definitely want to check that out. I don't watch enough go-to movies to pay something like that, but maybe some of you will. This is kind of a funny headline. The headline basically states, let me see if I can hit it here. Netflix on Mars? Yeah, maybe. Thanks to NASA's laser comms demo. Well, we've talked about this comms demo a few times. NASA's deep space optical communication tech. This demonstration has notched up another performance milestone, although they did not talk about speed. You can remember back in June at 240 million miles, the demonstration achieved a sustained downlink rate of 6.25 megs per second, peaking at 8.3. In the latest metric recorded in July, when the spacecraft was 290 million miles from Earth, they didn't talk about the speed, but they were able to communicate with the platform. The feat was made all the more impressive that the aircraft had entered the daytime sky by then, and so only the 1-meter telescope of the Optical Communication Telescope Laboratory at JPL's Table Mountain facility in California's San Gabriel Mountains could be used. The 5-meter Hale telescope at Palomar Observatory, used by the DSOC Transceiver Laser Downlink, is an astronomical observatory and could not be used for tracking and receiving data. So the team used a smaller 1-meter telescope to be able to downlink the beacon. So they didn't really say, but they were able to point and talk to each other at 290 million miles, which is pretty impressive, to say the least. Now, if you think what would potentially happen as we move forward in this kind of technology. If there's ever become a presence on Mars, there will have to be satellites. It will be relay satellites at some point. That'll be out in space at various points that signal will be able to be relayed through. That's how it's going to have to happen as we move, out and want better communications with Mars. Chinese hackers allegedly, listen to this. Chinese hackers allegedly hit U.S. wiretap systems to hit broadband networks. Chinese hackers allegedly hit U.S. wiretap systems. Oh my goodness. Chinese uses U.S.'s spying as a shortcut. And infamous Chinese state actors reportedly hijacked government systems to breach several American broadband providers and gain access to the interception portals required by the U.S. government. Research by the Wall Street Journal has revealed that amongst those breached were U.S. telecom giants Verizon, AT&T, as well as ISP Lumen Technologies, where hackers may have access to a vast collection of internet traffic for months, including court-ordered wiretaps collected in the name of national security. Good Lord. Goodness gracious. The U.S. has long pressured telecom companies to develop infrastructure for lawful interception so that they can access communications from network users. But of course, if the system exists, they can be exploited. Oh, unbelievable. Apparently, he got through Salt Typhoon was the way they got in, or something to that effect. Regardless of your opinion on your own government using surveillance techniques on its own people, the existence of these systems mean that they can and are being compromised by threat actors or tech companies and used without your consent. So who else did they spy on? Did they turn wiretapping on for other people since they had access to that? Water supplier American Waterworks says hacker breached their system. If they're attacking waterworks, do you don't think they're not attacking election systems? Have you ever said, the election system is completely secure? Please. American Waterworks Company Incorporated, which supplies drinking water and wastewater services to more than 14 million people, said hackers had breached its computer networks and systems. New Jersey-based company has disconnected or deactivated some system effort to contain the cyber attack and is investigating. The company said a regulatory finding of money. It currently doesn't believe water wastewater operations have been affected, but noted that it can't yet predict the full impact. So, these folks have all been warned. Your systems are susceptible. Get busy. If you're a Lego fan, official Lego website was hacked to promote a crypto scam. Lego Coin briefly promoted on the site before being removed. Yes, you could buy Lego crypto. It was not real. The false advert for Lego Coin promised secret rewards to those who brought the currency and included a buy now button, which led to a phishing site. Incident occurred at 3 a.m. Central Eastern Time, but Lego's Danish head office was quick to remove the message, which only displayed for around 75 minutes. Wow. How many people were affected? They clicked through to check that out. That's the question. So Google's grip on search slips as TikTok and AI startups mount challenge. And this is what I've been worried about here. We know that Google's seen pretty much invincible for a long time, but fueled by the rise of AI, social video, essentially from TikTok, which I'm using more and more as a search platform now, has really started allowing brands to target ads based on user search. Perplexity, an AI search startup backed by Jeff Bezos. I use Perplexity on a daily basis. Plans to introduce ads later this month under its AI-generated answers. Until now, has had made revenue from a $20 monthly subscription. Google's share of the U.S. search ad market expected to drop below 50% next year for the first time in over a decade. According to researcher firm eMarketer, Amazon expected to have 22.3% of the market this year, with 17.6% growth compared to Google's 50.5% share and its 7.6% growth. Yeah, because you're all going to Amazon and searching for stuff when you want to go buy a product or service. Nissan is buying into Ford's BMW and Honda home EV charging business. Now, Nissan will be an equal investor in EV home charging and vehicle-to-grid integration through a company ChargeScape. So ChargeScape is basically been founded by BMW, Ford, and Honda. So now Nissan's getting in on the game. How much did they invest? They did not say, but they basically bought into the pay-to-play there. We know that robotaxis are warming up. Hyundai signs a deal with Waymo to provide its next-gen autonomous rides. Driverless Ioniq 5s will soon be hitting the streets as Waymo continues to expand across North America. So they've inked this multi-year deal that will see the South Korean automaker implement Waymo's sixth-generation fully autonomous technology into its own built Ioniq 5 robotaxi platform. I'm going to assume to be done in Korea and Singapore. So we will see here. But anyway, self-driving continues to move on up. You know, this has got to upset many of you PC users, and I can really understand why. I've only got a few Windows machines here. I've got a Windows machine right here that's doing the audio stream. It's a Windows 10 machine, pretty old. It's a Lenovo. It was at one time one of a developer machine, and it's pretty powerful in its own right. But it's basically at the point where it was retired, and computers, even though they may not be used for heavy lifting, can often be used for mundane tasks like I'm using this one for. Matter of fact, I wouldn't even have to run this fancy of a computer if I basically I had it here and I'm using it. But if you can't upgrade your PC to Windows 11 and you're stuck on Windows 10, it really sucks. And it was away from going from to Windows 10, you had to have a better computer. So Microsoft advice is really pissy. Buy a new computer. And we know that Windows 11 adoption has been way slower than Microsoft would like. No doubt is part of the reason that PCs can't upgrade. And if you're just using a browser and you're not using a lot of other heavy lifting software, why upgrade? But here's the problem. About a year from now, you're not going to get updates. So support roles are going to end around October 2025. Now, if you're on Windows 8.1 or Windows 7, well, you already have floated the boat there. So, I just not everyone has money to go out and buy a new computer every 2 or 3 years. And these machines last a long time now. A long time. So, I'm looking at this machine. It's not eligible to go to Windows 11. And I don't care. It's just running a dumb program. It doesn't really need. It probably could run on a Windows 95 machine, to be frank, if I had one here. It's really, that low level of a program. I just need audio input and a simple Windows software called Rocket Broadcast. And that's all I'm using on the stupid thing. Probably could run it on one of the Macs, but, I like keeping things where I can see what's going on. And a really interesting story that would make you, if you were in this gentleman's position, be scared too. A man hoped he'd be a multi-millionaire after a rare meteorite crashed through his home. But now he lives in fear because people think that he made $1.8 million selling pieces of the meteorite. And this guy in Indonesia had a news article that basically said the rock was worth $1.8 million and he'd sold pieces of it. Well, he'd only really sold 2 small pieces of it and earned about $300. A 0.3 gram rock was $285, and the price for a bigger rock that weighed 33.68 gram was $29,000. Thus, the average per gram comes out to be $860. Now, the whole weight of the boulder was 1.8, but he hasn't sold the whole boulder. he made a little over $14,000. That's what he earned from it. But now he's living in fear because criminals thinks he's a millionaire. And if you are well known and publicized as an individual who is actually poor, where people think you're a millionaire, your kids are at risk. He said, I'm afraid my children will be kidnapped because think I'm already rich and will ask for ransom. He said he was still living in the same home, which was still normal and ordinary, indicating he didn't get $1 million. If he'd actually had the money, he said, I would recruit at least 5 security guards for protection. This poor guy made a little money, yet people thinks he's rich because of piss poor reporting by third parties like the BBC. Google's officially kicked Kaspersky antivirus software app off the Play Store. Wow. How long did that take? We know that the ban's been in place. So why did it take so long? This has been several months. I'm surprised it took that long. Wow. Samsung and Aura can rest easy. Apple isn't developing a smart ring, according to this report. 2024 might have been heralded the new Samsung Galaxy. 2024 might have heralded the new Samsung Galaxy Ring, the long-awaited Aura Ring 4, but a new report says a giant tech Apple isn't planning to join the party anytime soon. Of course, there was an Apple Ring being talked about. So that's one industry that won't be jeopardized, at least for a little while. A very interesting story. An artist has appealed his copyright denial for prize-winning AI-generated work. This is an interesting move here. According to this report on Ars Technica, Jason Allen, a synthetic media artist whose Mid-Journey generated work, Theater d'Opera Spatial, went viral and incited a backlash after winning a state fair art competition, is not giving up his fight with the U.S. Copyright Office. We know that the Copyright Office refused to register Allen's work, claiming that almost the entire work was AI generated. Allen is now appealing that decision, asking for judicial review and alleging that the negative media attention surrounding work may influence the Copyright Officer examiner's perception and judgment. He claims the examiner was biased and considered improper factors, such as the public backlash, that he had no control over how the artificial intelligence to analyze and interpret responded to his prompts. As he sees it, the rule establishing a review process requiring an examiner to determine which parts of the whole work are human authors seems entirely arbitrary, since some copyright examiners may not even be able to distinguish an artwork that uses AI tools to assist in the creation from one which does not use any computerized tool. He also claims that denial of copyright for works inspired confusion about who owned rights, not just Mid-Journey generated art, but all art. And AI technology rapidly improves, it will only become harder for the Copyright Office to make those authorship judgment calls. Right now, you cannot get a copyright for something that has been generated by AI. You cannot. It's just a simple fact of the matter. Speaking of AI, Google Photos is rolling out AI-powered search now, and it could be its biggest upgrade in years. So Google's Photos is already powerful, quote unquote, searchable archive of personal memories, and now Google's rolling out Gemini-powered upgrade that could see its fully replace your brain for recalling specific life events. I just went through my phone today, and or actually it was yesterday as I was vegetating, and I deleted, like, you know how you take screenshots all the time? And for like 4 years, I've taken screenshots of stuff that, only have, you send it to someone and it really doesn't have any lasting value. I think I removed like 600 screenshots. So it's good to go through your photos at least once a year and do a little cleanup and go back and delete the stuff that really is not important. It's number one, it saves digital space. Number two, it's just junk that doesn't need to be in your phone when you're trying to find stuff. So hopefully they will have a cleanup feature too that says, do you want these cleaned up? Do you need these anymore? So anyway, Ask Photos will effectively replace search tab in the app's bottom bar. So just be aware. There's a video on how it all works in the show notes. All right, we're going to get to the end of the show here. Don't forget, do not forget at all, we want you to consider becoming an insider at geeknewscentral.com/insider. Of course, if you have comments on today's show, it's very, very simple. You can email me directly, geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com, of course, on Twitter @geeknews. It's been my pleasure to bring you the show today. I don't know if there was any emails that came in. I'm just a little bit behind. Let's see if I had any that I copied over. No, I didn't have anything new. But, yeah, drop me a line. geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com, @geeknews on X. And again, it's been my pleasure to bring you the podcast today, or however you're listening, whenever you may be listening. For those of you that joined us live today, thank you for being here. And definitely get over to podcastawards.com and check out all the nominees and the winners over there. The ladies really kind of cleaned up this year in the awards process. So definitely take a look at all the winners. Hey, it's been my pleasure bringing the show. We'll be back with you on Wednesday for our 20-year show. Planning on doing something a little bit different here. We will have some tech news as well. But come join me and celebrate 20 years. And a great time. If you've been part of the family here for a long, long time, it's a great time to become an insider. After all, I've been at it 20 years. So that's got to be worth something. So 1702 will be 2020. But today's episode